Hello, everyone. It's Jeff here again. Um, so give you a little backdrop before I get right into the video. Um, so I'm a automation or controls engineer, whatever you want to say, at a manufacturing facility, um, where I live, nearby where I live. Um, and so I'm always trying to look for a certification training or something that will better me in my career, or something that looks good on a resume, or um, something that kind of sets you that cut above everybody else. Not that I'm always trying to be like, oh, I'm the best in the business. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of short and have a little bit of a Napoleon syndrome, I'll admit that. But um, not that that's what drives this motive, but rather the motive of trying to be better. Trying to better myself, trying to better the company I work for, and all of the above. So I want to share a little bit about some online trainings that I've come across that offer such as things as like Lean Six Sigma or uh, project management, ethics, um, better 5Sing, Kaizen stuff, and then even on to like how to offer trainings yourself for others and stuff, and along those lines. Um, there's a lot of companies out there that are available, and the particular one that I want to kind of take a few minutes to review is known as the Management Strategy Institute. So one of the things that really drew my attention to the Management Strategy Institute. Now, granted, I've been working on some trainings. I've had a total of 7 trainings with them, and I've done this over the past. I think, let's see, it's 2021. I think I found them in 2018. So figure, 3 years now I've been working sort of with the Management Strategy Institute for bettering myself in development. And one of the things I've discovered working with them and then working with some other companies is that, particularly like with Lean Six Sigma, there's no real definitive, this is Lean Six Sigma. So it's almost kind of like when you go to college. It's like, here's your trigonometry class. So this college teaches out of this trig book, but this one teaches out of this trig book. So they're both trigonometry, but neither one is the same organized method. Neither one is certified as this method is the one you teach. Neither one is certified as that's it. And there's no international, this is the code, this is what you do. It's kind of like when, as an electrician, you have, in the United States, the National Electrical Code, which defines what you do as the state adopts it. So one state might say, well, we've adopted the 2008 code and we haven't changed since then. Another state says, well, I've adopted the 2021 code and that's what you're going to go with. Another one might say, well, we adopted 2017 and we're not changing for another whatever years or something like that. In fact, I take that back. It's the 2020 code, forgive me. Because it was 2014, 2017, 2020. Forgive me, I was wrong on that one. So yeah, it'd be the 2020 code. In fact, the state I live in, I think they're still fighting to adopt the 2020 code, which is kind of depressing because I already got rid of my 2017 code book. But that's beside the point. So with Lean Six Sigma, for instance, that you don't have that definitive, this is the only way to do it like you do in the code book. But you do have a kind of a set standard as to how it needs to be managed and taught. And to my understanding, because I've taken the green belt with MSI, and then I've studied enough to know the other green belts that are offered, is that sometimes it depends on how the organization certified themselves. So I actually learned this in a job interview, of all things. I interviewed at a different company for the same position I'm currently in, and was turned down, I think, not necessarily for that reason, but for various other reasons. And quite frankly, I don't consider it too much of a loss either. I'm very happy with where I'm at. Very happy. But what I discovered after that interview is that it really does matter to some companies who is your certifying body. So with MSI, they don't really have a good certification body behind them. They have themselves, they have the Better Business Bureau, and then there's like one little podunk thing that really is kind of meaningless to most people. Where if you look at some of the other online certifications, some of them are IACET approved, which is like, what is it, IACET. And then there's PMI, which is the Project Management Institute, which is kind of a big deal. They're the ones that offer the PMP, which is the Project Management Professional Certification, along with the Certified Associate in Project Management, the CAPM, which to most people in business, that's a big deal if you have one of those, particularly the PMP. And then, so again, the PMI, and then there's also the ASQ, which is the American Society of Quality Engineers. So what you're going to find when you start looking for like a Lean Six Sigma, for instance, is that, particularly the green belt, this is the one I'm going to go with, if you find one that's ASQ certified, IACET certified, they're able to give you the professional development units, PDUs, and I believe those actually come from the Project Management Institute, PMI. If you're able to find that one, it's generally about $4,500. And I could be off a little. It could be about $3,200 to $4,500, and it can be an online self-paced, or it can be direct right there, or a virtual led instructor. So that's about what you're going to pay. Why? Because of the certifying body that's behind it. ASQ does not do cheap stuff. They charge an arm and a leg to get there, and to have that certification on your Lean Six Sigma project, green belt, or whatever you want to say at that exact moment, that's what you're going to pay for it. If all your concern is, like, for instance, I found another company that would give me a Lean Six Sigma green belt with a project for roughly about $1,200 to $2,000. But their certifications are going to be IACET certified and PMI certified. Now you can go back to Management Strategy Institute, MSI certified, and you're going to find out that their Lean Six Sigma green belt is going to give you the fundamentals of it, and they're only going to charge you about $250 to $350. I don't remember what it actually is exactly at this moment. Are they going to teach you the DMAIC and all of the important fundamentals of the green belt? Yeah. And now they'll give you even a certification that gives you the project that you need. In fact, you can even buy all three of them and that you can get them. My only concern is you don't have the backing of the Project Management Institute or IACET or anybody else for that matter. You just have MSI's word on it. So, did you still get a green belt? Yeah, but if your company is going to do some digging and some research, they might question you on that, as they did when I was in that one job interview. They questioned me. And I will be honest, they kind of laughed that one off, especially when I was like, well, yeah, I've got it, but there's nothing to back it. Now, I will admit the guy who kind of laughed it off was kind of snobby and wanted it to be ASQ certified, but he was too cheap to pay for us to actually go to an ASQ certification. So, hey, when it comes out of your own individual pocket, you're going to do what you can. And that's the one thing I really do love about MSI, is they are inexpensive, and they do offer some quality information there. For instance, I will say this. On the green belt, I learned a lot more than I knew when I had finished my yellow belt through an actual other certified company. And they were PMI certified as well as IACET certified. So, are you going to forfeit the knowledge? No, by no means. And you're paying for good knowledge that's coming from MSI. The only thing is you're not getting the backing of the other certifications that come with it. Again, though, like I said, too, is I took a project management fundamentals course with MSI. I learned a lot more about project management than I knew before I took it. So, again, if you're after the knowledge, they have it. and they have it very inexpensively too. And I strongly encourage you, if that's all you need is some knowledge and you just want that, and you want a little document that says, hey, I completed this training, by all means. I'll never steer you away from that idea. And I hope that this video doesn't concern you about doing that. In fact, I encourage you to go to MSI for that. But if you need to have the backing, such as a green belt or a black belt or something like that, and you're concerned that what that's going to look like in your next job interview, I would encourage you to probably cough up a little more money and go to somewhere where they're going to be at least PMI certified. IASET's definitely a big winner. I'm a big fan of IASET certifications on top of a certifying document. But that's my own personal preference to see that. PMI, like I said, gives you the professional development units, which is also critically important too. Again, though, like if you're going to deal with some snobby guy that knows how he's dealing with quality people and whatnot, then obviously you're going to want to push for that ASQ certification backing that Lean Six Sigma. But I want to go back to the MSI also again. So MSI offers, like I said, a ton of other certifications. I've only found one certification that I ever found that they offered that I was very discouraged with, and that would be their Corporate Trainer Certified program. I paid $200 for that certification. Excuse me. And it was literally 2 modules of 130 some 140 slides, give or take on that. And it really, it taught me plenty, but I didn't really feel like I was taught $200 worth of information. So I definitely would probably steer you away from doing the corporate trainer certification, because it just gives you kind of the fundamentals and the basics of what you need to pay attention to when you're teaching students. Some of it's kind of a generic common sense thing. I would have preferred on that situation to have a lot more information on what it takes to actually create course content, or to help develop it, or to help better it, in fact. Maybe a better way of laying it out, if you will. So I was a little bit discouraged to see that they offered me kind of a little bit of a poorer training on that one. But again, out of the 7 certifications, I got one that I felt was a little bit iffy. But other than that, they all have been excellent. I've learned plenty and gained a lot out of it. Probably the 2 I strongly encourage a person take would be, obviously is their white belt, because it's free, and their project management fundamentals, PMF, because it's free also. So I'd strongly encourage you to do that. But then on top of that, if you're going to pay for some certifications with them, I would suggest you probably consider buying the 5S and Kaizen certifications. Reason being, because there's a lot of information there that people don't really know when it comes to those 2 areas. And MSI does a phenomenal job at putting a lot of information out there for those 2 at a fairly low expense to their customers. So definitely would encourage that, especially if you're working in a company where Kaizens are kind of a big deal. I left one company that actually called them blitzes, and then now I'm in another company where we call them Kaizens. So knowing what a Kaizen really is, and then what your company determines it is and stuff, really can be quite beneficial to you as the employee, as the individual, and even an asset to your company that you're trying to work with on that. And then obviously 5S, when you're trying to help organize a workspace, you can actually use that oftentimes in your Kaizens or your blitzes or whatever your company calls it to increase their line productivity or whatever they might call it. So definitely a consideration. So I guess consider that for food for thought. So anyway, thanks for watching, and remember to stay safe.